Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel where today we're going to go through my Week 18 NFL Power Rankings. This is the last week of the season, right before we get to the playoffs, and there's still plenty of playoff spots up for grabs and seeding that matters in Week 18. So before we get started, let's go through our tiers. We have Super Bowl teams I personally consider to be true Super Bowl contenders. Then we have division teams that are going to make a decent run but not be true contenders. Then we got teams that are like wild card, basic wild card teams. We got mid, which are mid-level teams, bad, and then tank. And so I'm going to switch it up. Wild card teams are not going to be just it for wild card tier. That's going to be like basically who I think could be one and done in the playoffs is wild card. So let's go on ahead and get started here with the Arizona Cardinals, who are still down in tank because they are trying to get a top 5 pick currently right now, but they had a really, really impressive win against the Eagles. That is a really good confidence boost for this team. Former head coach Gannon went against the Eagles, his old team, and beat them. That shows a lot to them. I think Kyler Murray is going to stay there. He played pretty darn well, and I think we'll try to get him a weapon here this upcoming draft. So Good win as a character building win, but gotta hope you can get your draft stock a little bit better there. A team dropping into bad tier or staying in bad tier is Atlanta. They got absolutely blown out by the Chicago Bears, whose defense absolutely dominated the Falcons. Couldn't get anything going on the running game. Taylor Heineke looked absolutely terrible, and overall just kind of a lost season for you guys at 7-9. Still somehow alive for your division. You've got to hope everything goes right for you, but you're not a very, very good football team, so stay down there. Next up is the Baltimore Ravens. Clear and away the best team in football right now. Destroyed the Miami Dolphins. Put up 56 points against them and held them to very low points for the majority of the game until it was completely out of reach. And Lamar Jackson just wrapped up MVP. That defense is legit. Lamar is playing really darn good football. And this team, I feel like this is the year they finally put it all together and make a very deep player run. And I say they're the favorites to win the Super Bowl. So, Baltimore, heck of a job there. Heck of a job. Next up, a team I'm going to be putting up here in division tier because I think they can make a run to the division round or even conference championship is Buffalo. They've been kind of slipping of late. But still getting wins, which is important. Josh Allen did not have a great game that last week, but just showing that they're able to win that game without him having a godlike performance passing is really, really good sign for them. I think this team can currently sit at 60. They'll be playing the Chiefs, who have been struggling. This is a team that can easily make a division tier run. So I'm moving Buffalo up to division tier because I think they can make that push into the playoffs. Carolina, absolutely bad. Shut out by Jacksonville. So not really much to say there. You guys are the worst team in football, and you don't even get the benefit of having the number 1 overall pick because you traded it to the Bears, and now they have the number 1 overall pick. So, yeah, stay down there in Carolina. And speaking of the Bears, you got some very, very interesting decision coming up because you have been playing really good football of late. Sadly, you are eliminated from the playoffs, but your defense has been playing legit. Justin Fields has been playing better, not great. And you have a chance to play spoiler against the Packers. So, you know they're going to be hyped for that. But what are you going to do with that number 1 overall pick? Are you going to trade it? To get a haul of picks and assets to build around Justin Fields? Are you going to draft Caleb Williams or Drake May and then trade Fields for picks and assets? It is a very, very interesting discussion for Bears fans to see what you want to do because I think people are split on that. And I can see you going either way. But honestly, after that start to the season where you look like absolute trash, very impressive to get to where you are. That defense has been really, really good. And so, be interesting to see what you do in the offseason. But please, for the love of everything good, do not beat my Packers. I don't want to be sad. Team that's dropping to mid, Cincinnati. Eliminated from the playoffs at 8-8. They need Joe Burrow. Jake Browning did the best he could. They played hard against Kansas City. But I just think that the Bengals they need Joe Burrow back. And I think next year they're going to try to put it all together. They probably will lose T. Higgins in the offseason, which sucks. But Cincinnati is still a very, very good team. So there's that. Next up is the Cleveland Browns, who I actually think are at top of the division right now. They may be a wild card team. That's because the Baltimore Ravens are in their division as well. But I think Cleveland is the best chance for any AFC team other than the Baltimore to make Super Bowl. Because the way they play defense, they can contain Lamar. They played well against him both times. And that was before Joe Flacco came and really turned it up. So Cleveland has been playing good football of late. I really do expect them to win their wild card round against the AFC South champ and then potentially be able to beat Baltimore. So Cleveland is a really, really good team. Another team who I'm putting in division tier, there's going to be a lot of teams in division tier because I just don't think there's a lot of teams that could be true Super Bowl contenders. Dallas. You guys got lucky against Detroit. You really, really did, and it took an absolutely dominant performance from CeeDee Lamb to beat the Lions. Because outside of CeeDee, your offense did nothing. So, very, very concerning that you can't beat anyone on the road because you just can't. And you also can't really beat good teams, but I do expect you to have a good shot against the 6th seed, either the Rams or Packers, if you win your division. So, Dallas, you're there right now. I think you can win a game in the playoffs, but it just takes everything right to work for you. So, concerning there. Next up is Denver. Record says mid, but I'm putting them in bad because the way they are playing right now, the way that they handled the Russell Wilson situation, shows me a very dysfunctional organization. Currently at 8-8, mid-round pick, not really going to get anything going on for their team. And it's a very, very puzzling situation with the Broncos right now. So you're going down there in bad. Another team in divisional tier is Detroit. I'm putting them ahead of Dallas because they should have beaten the Dallas Cowboys in that game. But I still think that they're going to be behind Buffalo and Cleveland in terms of viability in the playoffs. They just are too new. I think they still have a good team. The offense is really, really good, but that defense is going to come back to bite them in the butt eventually. So up there in division. First team truly in wild card, Green Bay. Really, really awesome performance against the Vikings. Jordan Love had an amazing game. The defense actually shut people down. The reason why they're in a wild card tier after that great performance is I do not trust them to have this consistency on defense. The offense, I think, can compete with anyone. Either they match up against the Lions or Cowboys. I do think that the Packers will be able to keep up with them offensively. I just don't think that defense will be able to get enough stops to win. And so that's why I have the Packers in wildcard tier. Another team wildcard, basically all of the AFC South teams right here. These three are still all fighting for division. Most likely it is going to go to Jacksonville, who are playing the Titans. But the last wildcard spot would probably either go to either Indy or Houston right now, depending on who wins that last matchup there. But I just don't see any of these three teams really getting far in the playoffs. Houston, I think, is too soon for them. They don't have experience. I think C.J. Stroud's going to struggle in the playoff game, but they're just impressive. They're here. Same thing with the Colts. I'm really impressed that Anthony Richardson wrote down that Shane Steichen is able to keep this offense afloat with Gardner Minshew. That offensive line is creating good running lanes. And then Jacksonville, you just got to hope they're healthy because that is how they're going to be a challenge in the AFC. But right now, I think all three of these teams will, whichever combination of them makes it into the playoffs, will be one and dones. Because I just think that there are weaknesses with all of these teams. Next up is Kansas City, who I'm keeping in division for now. Again, kind of like Buffalo, they have the ability to make a deep run. I just don't know if I trust them all the way to make a deep run in Super Bowl tier, especially because their offense has not looked right all season long. And they're going to have a tough task in the wildcard round. They're most likely going to play the Bills. So, Buffalo, Kansas City, round one will be very interesting. So, I prefer Buffalo over Kansas City because Buffalo has better offensive performances recently than Kansas City. Next up, we have the Chargers, and they're tanking. They're absolutely terrible team. Not really much for me to say there. We all know that they're bad without Justin Herbert. They just got to get him healthy and get some help around him, get a better coach. LA Rams, they clinch a playoff spot. They're most likely going to be the 6th seed unless they lose and the Packers win. but they are in the playoffs. I don't really see them getting past the first round, but I do think that they can give a challenge to the Lions. It'd be very interesting to see them play the Lions because Matt Stafford coming back to Detroit, very, very interesting. So up there in a wild card tier for the Rams. The Raiders, mid-team, fought hard. They fought really hard, but they're just unable to make the playoffs here. So let's see, they're currently sitting at 7-9. Honestly, I believe the most important thing was finding their coach, and they did that against the and Antonio Pierce. So that's all they really needed to have there. So Raiders, good job. You're not trash anymore. Miami. After that performance against the Ravens, they're in division tier. That next up we have here is the Miami Dolphins, who got the absolute butt stomped in by the Baltimore Ravens. Like, it was embarrassing. The defense could not stop a fly. They gave up 56 points to Baltimore, and their offense couldn't do anything basically all game long. So they're still in the division tier. I still think they can win a playoff game or two, but I do not see them making the Super Bowl after what Baltimore did to them. And that, yeah, really, really there. Next up in Minnesota. They're still alive for the playoff push, but they got stomped by the Packers. Their defense could not stop Jordan Love. Their quarterback situation is a complete mess. Kirk Cousins going down for the year for them was the worst thing that could happen to this team. Because with a healthy Cousins, team easily in the playoffs. Easy. But now, they got to hope that the Packers and Seahawks lose and they win in order to make the playoffs. So, you're in there for now. New England, still a bad team. Still a bad football team. Not really much for me to say there. You all know where they're at. Next up is New Orleans. Another one of those mid teams. Still alive for the division. Still alive for wild card. But not really a very impressive team. It's just, I don't know what to do with you. You're just not a great team. You did beat Tampa Bay. But Tampa Bay has a winning in game against Carolina, which should be a shoo-in for them. And I think it'll be the outside looking in for the playoffs there. Next up is New York Giants, who I'm going to put in bad. They're a frisky bad, a fun bad, a competitive bad. I think going to Tyrod Taylor was the right move for the competitiveness of this team. But they really wanted to try to lose this last game in order to get a higher draft position. So, but still, not bad. You fight hard, and that's all you need to do. Jets, a team that completely has given up on the season. Aaron Rodgers is spewing nonsense on Pat McAfee. They're really trusting that guy to be the savior next year, and they need all the help they can get out of offensive line because I do not see how you're going to protect Aaron Rodgers with that. It's just not a very good team right now, and the defense that was supposed to be the strength has given up. I would not be surprised to see Robert Saleh fired. That's how bad it has been. Another team in division, Philadelphia. I still think they have the talent to win a playoff game or two. Actually, no, Philadelphia, you're going down here. You're like the worst one in the division right now because I have no faith in you. But you just lost to the Cardinals. There's a lot of turmoil going on right there. Whatever his name is, the coach is losing the locker room. A.J. Brown's not happy. There's a lot of discourse going on. This is kind of a very dysfunctional team right now. Actually, put Kansas City down here too. And so it's just, I don't really know what else to say. You're not that great of a team right now. Next up, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Still alive in a wild card hunt. Very impressive. They need help to get in, and I do think they would be a one-and-done team. But they are, I think, have been very impressive that they're still fighting for this. Mike Tomlin still has an above 500 record still for the season. That's all I need to ask. So, good for you. Good for you. Seattle. Another team that I think is going to be a one-and-done if they make the playoffs. They need some help to get in. They need the win and the Packers to lose. But Seattle, they've been worse than expected. I did not expect this offense to be as bad as they were, but they're still alive. They're still playing some decent football. And I just got to say, I'm happy the Steelers won last week. So, these two teams on the outside looking in. San Francisco is the only team I'm still considering in Super Bowl tier, even though the Ravens stomped them. I think they're easily the class of the NFC. They should not have any trouble getting to the Super Bowl unless something really weird happens. So those are my top two teams this week. Tampa Bay, another team that is a one and done. Actually, won't put them here. They're probably going to win the South because they're playing Carolina, but it was a kind of a bad loss last week to the Saints, who they could have easily won the division this week if they won. But Tampa Bay, I still think is feisty. I think playing the right team, they'll probably play either the Eagles or the Cowboys. They can make it. I don't expect them to, but they can easily. I think they are the most likely candidate for an upset in round one. They got Tennessee and Washington. These teams are clearly tanking. They're terrible, terrible football teams. Don't really know what they're doing. Just preparing for the future. So, this is my new style tier list. Kind of doing in kind of more order who I think is going to do, mixing up the tiers. So, 1 is Baltimore. 2, San Francisco. 3, Miami. 4, Cleveland. 5, Buffalo. 6, Detroit. 7, Dallas. 8, Kansas City. 9, Philadelphia. 10, LA Rams. 11, Tampa Bay. 12, Jacksonville. 13, Indianapolis. 14, Green Bay. 15, Houston. 16, Pittsburgh. 17, Seattle. 18, Minnesota. 19, New Orleans. 20, Cincinnati. 21, Chicago. 22, Las Vegas. 23 is the Broncos. 24 is the Giants. 25, Falcons. 26, the Jets. 27, Tennessee. 28, LA Chargers. 29, Washington. 30, New England. 31, Arizona. And 32, Carolina. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. And I'll see you again very, very soon.